how can we conceptualize the existence of unrepresented states and apply analytic techniques to them when using psychoanalytic tools based on Freud's topographical model? Freud in 1915 initially mentioned the idea that certain psychic elements would remain unconscious, even though structured like elements in the conscious and preconscious systems. The indication is that they have a type of psychic organization, but the level of anxiety that they provoke is so overwhelming that they can't be located in the conscious or the preconscious systems. Since the process of representation involves a movement from the outside world, the thing presented, to the unconscious, and a second movement from the unconscious to the preconscious and the conscious, the thing represented, Freud is referring here to the existence of unrepresented content and therefore unrepresented states of mind. Unrepresented states can be explained by the notion of disturbances caused by object relationships that create the inability to represent. These disturbances would directly affect the continuity of meaning and meaningfulness in the process of representation constructions. They create voids, absences, gaps. The French psychoanalyst André Green referred to these absences as tears in the fabric of the psyche. The analytical work with this form of content is not a work of construction, as pointed out by Freud in the analysis of neurotic patients, where unconscious elements are repressed but potentially able to be remembered and symbolized. In other words, there is a connection between the thing representation and the word representation. The work with unrepresented states focuses on the transformation of certain elements in the unconscious that don't have structure or are weak to form one. It is worth it to mention that the idea of transformation is not something new in psychoanalysis. Freud proposed that drives exist outside the realm of the psyche, describing them as a frontier concept. With this borderline concept of drives location between psyche and soma, it is that a type of transformation, it is known that a type of transformation would need to occur in order to metabolize unconscious desires so they could appear in the conscious. So in this sense, the Brazilian psychoanalyst Rocha Barros argues, the language used or spoken by the analyst is the result of a resonance, a movement of echoing back and forth that fills with new reason the effective transference experience of the patient. The patient's emotional experience needs to be readdressed and re-expressed in a new language that can resonate in a way that incorporates denied unconscious aspects of the patient's experience. Language in this sense is nor a mere connotation, denotative copy of embodiment of emotional experience, but something that gives meaning to experience through resonance. Things resonate with an analyst and patient and are transformed by our inner world and the symbolic resources each has or lacks. The transformational approach is an expansion in the analytic work with non-neurotic states that requires more from the analyst than the archaeological one. In the archaeological approach, the analyst looks for depressions on the ground to investigate what is hidden underneath by the effect of repression. In the case of the transformational approach, the goal is to work with the patient to create psychic structures where there are voids or strengthening weak psychic structures that are creating distortions. And represented states would appear in the analytic situation with patients that present affect storms, somatic discharges, and significant ego split.